Hey, Fabulous Fusion, Monday the 22nd or Tuesday the 23rd of February. Welcome back, everybody, for another exciting week. Just to review a little bit of what we did last week, if you look up at the screen, and then we'll be getting all of our stuff open for the day. So last time we did John Erickson, inventor, for our using clue strategy comprehension for those passages, and then we plotted our comprehension quiz. We also did the warm-ups to chapter 5 for the gun. We read almost all of chapter 5 together. You were supposed to finish it for today. Find out what happens between Tyree and Daryl at the end of chapter 5. We worked on 2 words for vocab set 7. And that's pretty much from the last time. We also went over vocab 6 test. So I'm going to have you open up a few things now at this time. So if you would please get your Chromebook out. Half of the class, go grab your binder so you can plot your chart for your reading today and use your prefix, suffix, root word charts as needed. Okay, so please go grab your binders, get your Chromebook open. As always, while you're sitting there and waiting, you can always be working on the warm-ups for the gun. We should be through page 5 on the warm-ups or worksheet 5, and you should have about 6 words done on vocab set 7. So whenever you're kind of just sitting there, you should work on the warm-ups through page 5 and complete any vocab set 7 that you don't have caught up today. Okay, so let's begin. First of all, you should open up the daily doc. Of course, the daily doc is in the black folder, as you know, and go find the daily doc for 222 to 223. It's towards the bottom. Okay, they're always towards the bottom. Okay, 222 to 223. Open up that document for today. Okay, that's one thing you need open. The other thing that you need open always is vocab set 7. Okay, so get open vocab set 7 or take out your vocab pack, whatever you're working on. Some of you are doing paper, some of you are doing the steno pad. Most of you are probably copying and pasting and doing the steno pad for, that's set 5. So go get vocab set 7 and open that up. Okay, so up top you should have a tab for your daily doc, one for vocab set 7. And lastly, go get the passage for the day. Remember, pink to blue. We're in the first group yet of stories, 1A through 1E. Next time, we will go into the second set of stories. So, prediction strategy, pink. Then you go on to the blue folder right here. And remember, we're in the first set of stories, prediction passages 1A through E. Next time we'll be in the second set. So open up 1A through E, and then also open up the comprehension tests. Those take a little bit to load, so get those opened up, 1A through E. Okay, our first story that the last story in 1A through E is called The Ships of Salem. So scroll to The Ships of Salem, as well as the questions for the ships of Salem. I'm going to read the questions at this time, so you hear them. Always read the questions before you read the passage. Then you read the passage in any class, not just reading class. Then you go to the questions, use them with the passage to be able to answer your questions. So don't forget to do this, whether you're in science, history, MCA test, any of your classes, health. Look at the questions first. The thing you shouldn't do is grab the questions and then just go look for the answers and not read the passage or the article or the story, because that will not get you a good grade, because it doesn't work out that way. It's more than just hunting for an answer. Okay, here are the questions. The Ships of Salem. Again, have the story open and then the questions next to it in your tabs up top. Fishers from Salem caught and traded flounder, codfish, or shark. Number 2, fish were traded for salt, sugar, molasses, lumber, or gold. Number 3, to attack British ships during the Revolution, sailors from Salem used American ships called schooners, privateers, or barges. Number 4, ship captains were paid flat salary in goods, wages plus a percentage of profit. Number 5, Salem's sailors became wealthy from trading with England, the East, or the West Indies. Number 6, items from the East that sailors traded could best be described as A, familiar goods, B, inexpensive goods, or C, rare and beautiful goods. 7, you can conclude from the article that early sailors were likely to be A, timid, B, adventurous, C, creative. Number 8, you can conclude that after the Revolutionary War, many of Salem's sailors, A, settled in the East, B, made money from trading, or C, were lost at sea. 9, you can conclude that the Revolutionary War, A, had no effect on Salem, B, helped Salem prosper, or C, marked the end of Salem's golden days. And 10, the article suggests that Salem, A, has returned to farming, B, is still a thriving trade center, or C, is no longer a thriving trade center. Okay, so you kind of keep those open. Again, I'll hand out a sticky note and you will number 1 through 10, and then you'll be charting your progress after 10 minutes. I'll read the story. You can do the questions while I read. If you choose to, you can do them right after. I'll set the timer for 10. And that way, when you're done with your questions, you'll work on vocab set 7 and the warm-ups on worksheet 5 and 6 in the warm-ups for the gun. Okay, the ships of Salem. Farming was hard in New England. Many a New Englander left the plow to seek fortune on the sea. The people of Salem, a small town in Massachusetts, were no exception. At first they were fishers, going far out to sea for codfish. Then they began sailing their little schooners south to the West Indies. There they exchanged codfish and lumber for salt, sugar, or molasses. Often they went to ports on the Mediterranean. Sometimes they made it to the coasts of Africa. When the Revolutionary War came, the people of Salem went out in larger ships. These ships, called privateers, attacked the ships of Britain. When the war was over, Salem was left with 158 privateers. These vessels were too large for the West Indies trade. Besides, Britain ruled the West Indies. Americans could no longer do business there, and so Salem sent its ships to the east. They sailed to China, India, and the lands of the East Indies. And Salem sent its children, too, from the surrounding countryside. Some of them were as young as 14. To the youngsters, the smell of the wharves was the smell of fortune and adventure. For sailors visiting China, there were the strange sights of the city of Canton. Its river was jammed with ferry boats, canal boats, sampans, barges, and junks with eyes painted on their prows. There were sights just as strange in the cities of India and other nations of the East. There was no money in sailing, too. In the early days of the Salem voyages, each sailor was given space on the ship where the sailor could store goods for trading. These items might be a few kegs of tobacco or some large New England cheeses. Captains could take as much as 5 tons of goods. Besides their wages, captains were paid from 1 to 18% of the profits of the voyage. The years between the Revolution and the War of 1812 were a great time for Salem. Its warehouses were crammed with the treasures of the East. Their silks from China and coffee from Mocha could be found. The warehouses had painted cloth from India and ivory and gold from the coast of Africa. Salem's merchants built splendid mansions on Chestnut Street. In their rooms were rare and beautiful things brought from across the sea. Today the mansions stand still. They are reminders of Salem's golden days. So on the daily doc, just to mention, I did put an example that you're welcome to use on your weekly or your reading assignment sheet 5 through 8 for the ships of Salem. you can use this clue strategy. So before reading, you could have looked at, the author, the title, the pictures. So obviously, it's about ships in the sea, the New England area. You could have skimmed for words. Then you link to prior knowledge that some ships were very fancy, some didn't make it in the sea. On rough seas, and then uncover a prediction. I predict the article will be about fancy ships back in the day. Then you read just like we did, and you do the E part. So if you want to use this for your example, you can, but you have to fill in the E part now that I read it to you. But you want to do that after you do the comprehension test. So at this time, you should be, I'm going to set the timer for 10, do the comprehension test, maybe go back and use this for your reading assignment 5 through 8 in the independent reading folder. You might want to use this clue for one of your examples of the 3 and fill in the E now that we read, and make your own prediction what you thought it was going to be about. Okay, so comprehension test, use this clue example on reading assignment sheet 5 through 8. Work on warm-ups, work on vocab 7, the next 2 words, and that I'll go over in just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video. You have 10 minutes. Go. Okay, we're back, and let's correct the comprehension test and plot on your diagram for the ships of Salem. So I'm going to correct that right now with you. So again, we'll correct off of your sticky note, then you'll plot your answers. So looking at the answers for the ships of Salem, 1 through 10. Okay, number 1 is B, 2 is A, 3 is B, 4 is C, 5 B, 6 C, 7 B, 8 B, 9 B, 10 C. Okay, put your score out of 10. Are there any questions on any of those? And go ahead and plot your score. That's story 1E, The Ships of Salem. Any questions? Okay, so you should have plotted your score. Put your plot back into your folder. Again, put that in your binder. Plot your score. And back to your binder. Okay? All right, so you can put your binders away if you want. Some of you like to keep them out because then you can also finish your vocab, or you can use the other materials in the vocab folder for prefix, suffix, root word. Okay, I'm going to move on at this time. So you finish putting your binders away, get your Chromebooks back open and ready to roll. We just did the prediction strategy for the ships of Salem and comprehension. You have opened the weekly reading doc for today for Fusion Reading. Today, before we read chapter 6, I'm going to have you partner up, maybe with someone near you, 6 feet apart, and you are going to summarize one part of chapter 5. I have 4 different questions listed here. And moving back here. Okay, so we did clue. Warm up, again, is worksheet 5. You should have that done to chapter 5. So the warm up should be done at this time. Tyree's mom's personality, she kind of babies him, and you can see a lot of evidence of that and wonders what's wrong, tells her he loves her, she loves him. He's not very nice to her. The dad's personality, he's really a bully. He's really mean. He has taught Tyree what it's like to be a man, which is probably not the right way to be a man. And he's also very mean to the mom. What would you do about Tyree if you were his parent? Or how do you feel about Tyree and why? Just call on a few of you here. All right, so we're going to look at, and I'll stop the video. We are going to look at you guys creating some questions. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 questions here to summarize chapter 5. We're going to do that in just a moment, and then we will go on to chapter 6. But before we do that, and I'm on the daily doc here, I wanted to just go over our 2 words of the day so that if you finish your summary for chapter 5 for your part, you can A, finish vocab set 7, the next 2 words, geology and geography, or B, complete the warm-ups on page 5 and 6 for the gun, and you can be moving on to assignment sheet 5 through 8 as well and complete a clue that's listed here on our document. Okay. So let's look at the 2 words, then we'll go back to chapter 5, listen to chapter 6. Geology is one of your words for today. Monogamy and polygamy. Monogamy is one relationship or marriage. Polygamy is not to be single. Various marriages is polygamy. Geology, okay, so here geo is earth, and you figure out the ology. You do that part, look it up. Geology, what's that? The study of. And 2 other words, geometry uses the geo, and sociology uses the ology part. 2 sentences, studying the Earth's surface in geology geology class is fun, so obviously the definition must be studying the Earth's surface. And geography, geo, graph, and y, you look those up in your prefix root suffix. Study the Earth's surface, okay, and that's geography. Geometric uses geo, and graphics, okay. And you complete both sentences for geography, geometric, or graphics. All right, so I'm going to stop the video at this time. You guys will be completing the chapter 5 summary with these questions. Then we'll listen to chapter 6. And whatever we don't finish today for chapter 6 will be homework for the next time for Wednesday or Thursday. Again, making sure that you're having your vocab 7 caught up and your reading assignment sheet 5 through 8 that you're working on that. You can do that 1 clue strategy using the ships of Salem if you want, and your warm-ups through worksheet 6. Okay, so chapter 6, worksheet 6 warm-ups, vocab 7, you should have 6 or 8 words done by now, and working through reading assignment sheet 5 through 8. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video at this time so that we can move on to our chapter 5 summary as well as listening to chapter 6.